Well, good morning, lovely ladies and gentlemen. Steve Collins coming to you from beautiful San Antonio, Texas, the second most powerful, passionate, purposeful coach and speaker in the world. Who are you this morning is a question I ask. Are you Uncle Rico or are you King David? You guys watch Napoleon Dynamite? Did you guys see that? I want to show you something. The reason I'm thinking about it this morning, I'll show you something kind of cool here if you can see it. I don't know how the camera is set backwards. Okay. If you see that right there, that car is a called an Infiniti Q45T touring package. Infiniti Q45T touring package. Okay? And the reason that vehicle is significant to me, by the way, my daughter drove it. I call it a beater car. My son's going to be driving it, and I kind of call it a beater car. And the reason is this vehicle is 20 years old. It represents something significant to me. And when I ask, are you Uncle Rico or are you King David? This is in line with what I spoke earlier this week. Is your past an anchor that's holding you down, or is the past the sail that's lifted by the wind? Is your past the wind that fills the sails and moves you forward? Phone calls. Or is it an anchor that holds you down? Are you Uncle Rico or are you King David? And I show you this Q45 here because you see, I was in the automotive business because my family was in the automotive business before I got into real estate. I read a book and it had a question in that book, and that question said this: if you could make one major change in your life and God promised you not only would you not fail but you would succeed wildly, what decision would you make? And I wrote down I'd get into real estate. I didn't even know what that meant at that time, but this is the car that I sold to the owner of a restaurant called Las Palapas for $72,000 20 years ago. Let me get away from these dudes that are doing the yard over here. Okay, so here's the thing about it. Are you Uncle Rico or are you King David? When we talk about the past versus the ability to take what has happened, these guys out here, I couldn't predict that they were going to pull up with that. Sorry about the audio, so I'll just bring it right here real quick for you. Okay. Are you Uncle Rico? Who was Uncle Rico in Napoleon Dynamite? Do you remember who Uncle Rico was in Napoleon Dynamite? Uncle Rico was the guy that was like, man, I was the quarterback, man. You know, I was a legend in my time, man. You know, if I could just go back. If I could just go back. Uncle Rico is all about if I could just go back. If I could just go back to what I was. If I could just go back to those high school days. Man, I could have been great. I could have been great, man. I'd have done anything. And there are people who keep memorabilia from their past as something that allows them to remain in a fantasy world of, I remember when I used to rock it. I remember when I was amazing. I remember when I did this. I remember when I accomplished this. And oh, man, if I could just get back to those good old days. Oh, if I could just get back to those good old days, man. Golly, I mean, I remember how good I was. I remember how awesome I was. That's Uncle Rico. Are you the shepherd boy David? Shepherd boy David goes up to bring his little snacky Lunchables to his brothers who are at war, who are being taunted by this guy named Goliath, huge dude. And David assesses him, and after conversation says, you know, a lion came to attack the sheep and the Lord gave him to my hands. I kicked his butt. A bear came to attack the sheep and I kicked his butt. God gave him into my hand. And God will give me this uncircumcised Philistine and I can take him down too. You see, Uncle Rico looked back on his past victories as an anchor that weighed him down and made him think to himself, Uncle Rico of the past. And it held him to the past like an anchor. Then you had King David who looked to the past victories, and he saw those past victories as evidence of his ability to have victory today. So I end with this question for you, friend. Are you Uncle Rico looking back at your past, wearing your thinking about the days of old? Oh man, when I was so awesome and I was so good. And is it an anchor? Are you like shepherd boy David? Are you looking at your past and your past victories with the intention of saying, I killed it then, I can kill it now? The difference will determine how far you go. Have a great Saturday, guys.